Here we go. Can you see me? Yes? No?
Look at that face. Look at that face. Yep, we see you.
Okay, good.
Okay, take it away. I already gave you an introduction.
All right. So, as we kind of embark on a healthy journey, one of the things that I've kind of established is that we have what we call the pillars of health, and life as we have it, we get drawn into different ideas about diet, exercise, how we go about what I call the pillars of health. And the pillars of health are important because when we think about life and longevity, one of the things that often comes up is why is it that some people seem to live past the age of 100? And there are millions of people that have reached past the age of 100, but very few people live past the age of 111. There is a drastic drop off that occurs at that time. And for various reasons, this drop off has to do with potentially genetic programming. That is the ability of one to live beyond that lofty age. There's a gentleman named Bernardo Lapello.
Okay, so how can I help?
He lived to the age of 114, and he did so with a rather elegant, if you will, approach of learning about blood analysis, which is something I've done. He did not employ blood analysis. He did not employ hormone intervention. He did not utilize detoxification, although he did detoxify from a perspective of the way he ate and the way he exercised. He was plant-based, oil-free, sugar-free. He stood upright. He rarely consumed oils, but he applied olive oil on his skin. And so this seemed to help with the fact that he stated he hardly had any wrinkles, which is interesting because 114 years of age, he had his mental cognition intact. And I believe that those people who employ, and by the way, he followed circadian rhythms. So he would, at sundown, he would go to sleep around then, and he would wake up at sunrise. And he consumed, after he did his 2-hour walk in the morning, whole plant-based foods, fresh fruits, vegetables, beans, peas. With the Latin background from Brazil, he ate a lot of beans. Beans seems to be a consistent theme in healthy longevity. And I would agree with Dr. Joel Fuhrman in what he uses as an acronym called GBOM: greens, berries, onions and leeks, mushrooms, beans, and seeds, nuts and seeds. So we really want to make sure we include these foods into our diet on a daily basis. And we also want to be sure that we lean into daily exercise. Now, I've come up with 3 different types of exercises. One is what I call flow exercise. And you participate in stretching, yoga, about 90 minutes of exercise, maybe going to the beach, going for a jog, going for a swim. You really participate in fun, enjoyable exercise that you like. I love to include music with that exercise and really kind of bring people to that place of where your heart rate is beating, but you can carry on a conversation during your exercise. And I think when you talk about flow exercise, the idea is longer duration and at a pace that your body adapts and really kind of increases that lymphatic system, the drainage, increases the energy of the body. And it's really good for the overall joints and the kind of status of muscle integrity. But then we need to really look at how can we maximize our exercise in a shorter period of time? 90 minutes is a considerable amount of time in this day and age of busy lifestyle requirements. And probably most of you have jobs that are pretty demanding, but you're at a computer for long periods of time. So I actually have been utilizing a device. It is a Nikola Tesla device, and you can just see it right here. And I actually hook these electrodes onto my muscle groups for 45 minutes, and I rotate them while I'm at my computer. And I do this for good reason, because you can get a full body workout if you're sitting at a computer for like 3 hours. But this is not like a TENS unit. This sends an electrical current, 400 volts at low amperage, and it actually causes the muscles to contract very firmly, and it builds muscle density. So you're adding, and at a stage when you reach past age of 60, even past age of 50, we're developing muscle atrophy, and we're developing what's called muscle sarcopenia. We're losing muscle density as we age. So when we think about lean body mass, it's very important that we preserve our lean body mass. And so we want to stimulate muscular contractions. But without exception, my favorite workout system is a 12-minute workout where you work out each body part to failure with one set per exercise using what's called forced negative reps. If some of these terms I'm using are not familiar with you, I can certainly share with you links, but at fromthedoctors.com, there are videos and podcasts and education materials with over 1,000 videos that we offer and provide. But I just want to say that the experience of taking the muscles in the very first reps, where someone is pushing 40% more weight, let's say you can bench press 100 pounds, but on the way down, when you let the weight down, you have the strength to let over 140 pounds down. In other words, 40% more strength always on the lengthening contraction. So your partner would push the weight down, adding that 40 pounds extra pressure as you let the weight down. And then you would explode up, and on the way down, the partner would push only so much resistance that you can handle and resist the weight going down. So you don't just let the weight drop down, you fight the weight down with your partner pushing down firmly, adding that extra 40 pounds of pressure. By doing so, you reach muscular failure within about 12 to 15 repetitions, and you start reaching muscular failure very early on the repetitions, maybe rep 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You're feeling muscular fatigue, and then complete muscular failure somewhere past 15 or 20 reps. So you only need to do one exercise per body part, for the chest, for the back, for the shoulders, for the triceps, for the legs, for the abdominal area. Essentially, you work out the full body in 12 minutes. I've had many people just this month who were skeptical. And in fact, over 12 people, including an NFL elite fitness gentleman who works out 7 days a week. I took one water polo fitness guy who's, I think, age 28, and I put him through the 12-minute workout. Now he's done his third session with me. They all, to a person, said it was the most intense workout they've ever experienced in their life. And it's only 12 minutes. And also, you get your cardio, you get your max VO2 increased, you stimulate your lymphatics, you get the cleansing effect of exercise. And best of all, you experience a runner's high virtually every time at the end of the 12 minutes, and it lasts for hours because it releases certain hormones that stimulate youth and well-being. So that being said, the fitness that we talk about, the ability of individuals to get in great shape, but that's a rather intense workout. I had one female who's had a history of gymnastics, and I put her through the 12-minute workout, and it was so intense that at the end of the 12 minutes, and by the way, 100% of the people complete the 12-minute workout with me, yet most people experience a different rate of recovery. So it took her about 2 hours to recover from the workout. And the day after workout and the next day after, she was extremely sore. So that exercise for her may have been beyond her limits, and I believe it was, even though she was in good shape. I have another lady who did the 12-minute workout, but again, it was too sore. She felt too sore, but it takes about 9 days to get past the soreness. And once you do, you're on to this whole new level of fitness and well-being that you've never dreamed of before. But we've been using what's called bands, and we put these bands around the arms and around the legs. and we pump the band up to restrict blood flow. So during your normal squats and push-ups and sit-ups, you do these exercises, and within about, I'd say 20 minutes, even as short as 15 minutes, you get this kind of this rush of hormone release, and you will feel sore after the workout, but mildly, hardly at all. I mean, you just feel it, but you feel like you got a good workout. So it just depends if you do the flow kind of workout where you're building long-term strength and endurance and flexibility, or you do this very intense workout when you become more advanced, or most of you will benefit from doing this band type of workout. So I share this with you because the reality is most of us are searching for ways to improve our fitness level. And so when we look at fitness and well-being, the first thing that I think about is, what are you going to do to detoxify the body? And when I say detoxify, exercise is one of the great ways to detoxify. However, I will say without reservation that exercise by itself will not do the full job. Yes, it will increase lymphatic drainage and stimulation, but you also have to think about the plant-based whole foods diet. When you're taking in oil-free, sugar-free, whole plant-based foods, and you're using a combination of high fiber foods, the biodiversity of the gut depends on fiber intake. So this fiber helps to really cleanse the body. It attaches to byproducts of toxins and chemicals and even excess estrogen hormones. So fiber is critical. I like to include a lot of different vegetables, which vegetables usually aren't that high in fiber. But jicama, if you haven't heard of that, is really good source of fiber, about 20 grams of fiber for a medium size jicama. And it's kind of like a mild sweet, almost like a potato texture, I guess. And so yams and potatoes and beans are all great sources of fiber. We need to include enough fiber. The average person barely gets 10 grams of fiber a day. We need at least 60 to 110 grams of fiber a day. And this will make a difference. In fact, you'll have at least 2 to 4 bowel movements a day on this type of fiber intake. If you've gone to an animal-based diet or you're fasting, you're not getting any fiber. So you really have to pay attention to, on a daily basis, are you getting sufficient natural amounts of fiber? Now, when I look at people and I examine their blood under the microscope, as I have to the side of me, and I see the effects of a high fat diet and excess oils and toxins that enter the bloodstream, it restricts blood flow to the cells of the body. And we don't want that to happen. We want to take in our foods because all foods have fat in them. We don't have to add oils and fats to the diet. Nuts and seeds and avocados and coconut have fat, obviously, at a higher percentage, while tomatoes, oranges, fruits, and all vegetables have about 10 to 15% fat in them. So we get enough fat, we get enough protein. The biggest question I get asked over and over again, how do I get enough protein on a plant-based diet? And the reality is, think about it. Bonobos monkeys are love monkeys. They're the closest genetic match to us. Although we are omnivores, meaning we can consume a small amount of animal foods, our primitive relatives, including analysis of human feces, showed that we consumed less than maybe a serving of animal product, maybe once or twice a week. In fact, Bernardo Lopello who reached, as I mentioned, the age of 114, he ate salmon about twice a week. That was it. Everything else was all plant-based. And so we really get our nutrient density and our protein, and actually all beans, potatoes, fruits, and vegetables have all the protein we need. We get about 80 grams of protein a day from that type of a diet. If you're on an animal-based diet, it may push your grams of protein up to about 100 to 140 grams of protein, which becomes somewhat toxic. It's hard for the body to detoxify animal proteins. In fact, it's one of the leading reasons why kidney failure is so common in those on the Western diet. And kidney failure, first, you might have to be on dialysis, and it could lead to obviously premature death because the kidneys detoxify a lot of chemicals and create urine to be excreted. It's interesting that in people on a high plant-based whole foods diet, that the kidneys function incredibly well. And it's been proven that Dr. Walter Kempner, who had patients who were scheduled for kidney dialysis, instead, for 1 year, he put them on a rice fruit diet. That's right. Rice and fruit are low enough in protein so it didn't add to the toxic burden to their kidneys. And every person to a person not only reversed their kidney damage, but they reversed diabetes, they reversed cardiovascular disease. The average person in that study, listen to this, reduced 147 pounds per person in that study. And most of the people in that study were massively obese. So this is good news. Now, the next thing that most plant-based advocates and those who exercise, some of them who exercise know the importance of hormonal balance, but plant-based doctors oftentimes have not studied the importance of thyroid, DHEA, pregnenolone, testosterone, the understanding of what's called peptides. And I am convinced that to reach beyond 110 years of age, we're going to have optimized hormone levels. If you've never had a hormone test, you need to check both the blood test for hormones. We do a VIP panel that measures all the key hormones. And then we do a 24-hour urine hormone test that measures 38 different hormone metabolites. So we have to look at estrogen and the metabolites of estrogen, testosterone and their metabolites. We look at the cortisol and their metabolites. And so we look at these balances and we can determine, are you maintaining hormone levels at a youthful level? When I embarked on this about 40 years ago at the age of 28, I was finding that my hormone levels were starting to decline. Your hormones start to decline about around age 30, maybe as early as age 25. Certainly by age 40, they're really declining by 50, 60, 70. And most doctors who are natural-based doctors would have it that, well, let's just let people age at the normal rate they age, just make sure they eat healthy and they exercise and they have a good mindset. The problem is that aging is unacceptable at the normal rate of aging because we all reach declines rather rapidly. In other words, we age depending on our hormone levels. If we can optimize our hormone levels, it tricks our body and our biochemistry into rejuvenating more stem cells, repair, the muscles become stronger and firmer, the organs become healthier, your systems, all the systems of your body become younger. So when you measure these bioidentical hormone levels, and we then help you get on a program with supplements and herbs. Herbs modify hormones. They detoxify hormones. They convert them to safer forms of hormones. Herbs are critical. And we have a whole list of herbs that we encourage people to learn about with videos and education material at fromthedoctors.com. So that being said, if your hormone levels are that of a 60, 70, or 80-year-old, how many here viewing right now are past the age of 60, right? Raise your hand or show me that you're engaging, right? So if you're past the age of 60 or even at past the age of 50, the fact is that you need to have your hormone levels checked. And these hormone levels are critical to really evaluate what is going on with your body. I keep my hormone levels towards that of a 22-year-old. This I have found to be extraordinarily helpful for literally thousands of my clients. And we do this by bioidentical testosterone implant under the buttocks, and it lasts for about 3 to 6 months, and that keeps your hormone levels that of a 22-year-old. If we then intervene with pregnenolone and DHEA, we use a cream we rub into the skin. And these various products that we use are designed to optimize your hormonal levels. So as you're taking these bioidentical hormones, they shift into different types of hormones down kind of a Christmas tree of metabolic pathways. So when you take these particular herbs, it shifts them to the safest form of estrogens. There's over 40 different estrogens. And in my new book, if you request to me, you can just simply request, I'll send you a PDF of my new book. I've written 10 books, but the newest book is Feeling Great and Looking Great Beyond the Age of 100. So if you drop me a note to nickdphd@gmail.com, I'll be happy to send you a PDF of this new book, Living Beyond 100. And this book explains how to get your hormone levels in proper balance. It explains in detail how to get the best quality sleep at night. And, you know, people sometimes depend on melatonin. People sometimes have night lights on at night, and that interferes with their sleep. Melatonin can help, but you only need like 0.1 milligram. But people are taking 5, 10, 15 milligrams of melatonin. Then they wake up groggy and they don't know why. They're taking too much, particularly because melatonin is imbalanced with cortisol. Cortisol is a daytime hormone that's much misunderstood. And so, you know, I say that because, oh yeah, thanks for the correction. It is nickdphd@gmail.com. So people are, shall I say, misinformed about the quality and the necessity of sleep. As we get older, some people say, well, I don't sleep as much, but you need 7, 8 hours, even 9 hours sleep, depending on your physical activity and your exercise. So let's kind of agree to understand that hypnosis is one of the great ways to get you into deep quality sleep. I have a 9-hour hypnosis segment with what's called theta music that transitions to delta. Now, YouTube, usually when you upload music with these particular powerful brainwave music themes, it alters it and it doesn't have the same effect. We figured out how to upload it properly so it works. So when you play this 9-hour sleep program, you're going to go into a deep phase of sleep. And I will say this, that if you wake up, there are about 4 sleep cycles, each an hour and a half to 2.5 hours long. And you want to go through all phases of sleep. If you're drinking coffee, it suppresses adenosine. Adenosine builds up and it reaches a level that it requires you to have sleep. There are theories by Matt Walker, sleep expert, that default of humans was actually sleep, and we became, out of somewhere during our development, awoken. We awakened, and now we have an awake state. So it's interesting that if you go without sleep for more than 10 days, you could actually die. Studies have been done and confirmed, not just with animals, but humans who attempted to exceed sleep deprivation over 10 days. So sleep is critical for the dream phase, for detoxification and hormone rejuvenation. And I would be remiss if I did not talk about the power of the mind, hypnosis and timeline therapy, and also the importance of love and intimacy. Those people who are having trouble sleep should be making love just before they go to sleep. Men particularly fall asleep easily after making love, particularly to the point of orgasm, because it releases prolactin, a hormone that's almost estrogen-like, and it makes you feel very sleepy, and you go to sleep. Women are used to estrogen-like molecules like prolactin, so it doesn't make them sleepy. But the important thing is that it's been discovered that an animal-based diet increases prolactin levels to dangerously high levels and increases the risk of breast cancer, prostate cancer, and most cancers are related to estrogen dominance. Meat of all types, chicken, turkey, beef, dairy product, and so forth, are loaded with estrogen. And these estrogens have caused men to be gender confused. They're seeking gender operations. They're seeking additional female hormones. It's because they're so loaded with estrogen that they're developing man boobs. They're becoming feminized. And men in this day and age are exposed to more toxins. Over 42,000 new chemicals are released into our environment every year that we've never even known about. And many of them are estrogen-based pesticides and toxins and neurotoxins. So keep in mind then, a far infrared spa to detoxify, exercise, nutrition, high fiber. But that leads me to the most important thing. And that's,
hey, Nick.
Yes.
Hi, Nick. So I'm going to have to, Daniel is coming on. And so we're going to bring Nick into room number 10.
Okay.
Thank you.